Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Dex, Spooky Scary Edition. Hopefully, you were able to watch our normal Let's Talk About Dex earlier, but this is basically just a version of that where we focus only on the creepy Pokédex entries, the scary ones that'll keep you up at night.
Mhm.
So, first, we're going to talk a little bit about us. My name is Ami.
And I am Tyler.
And we've both been playing Pokemon since Generation 1, and for both of us, our first game was Pokemon Red. We mostly do panels in North Carolina, but this is our third out-of-state con after NecoCon and KatsuCon to present at. We did this panel at NecoCon, but not at KatsuCon. This is a PG-13 panel. Sometimes it is an 18-plus panel, but this time it will just be PG-13.
Because you guys are listening to our voice and not actually seeing us.
It's also usually not much adult content, just a little bit of
That is true.
We had 3 other panels this weekend, so I hope you were able to check those out. One other pre-recorded, which I just mentioned, it was Let's Talk About Dex. That should have been earlier today. Right before this, actually, we would have had our Smeargle sketch game show, which was a drawing game. And on Friday, we had Create Your Own Pokemon, which is a fun little thingy where you get to design your own Pokemon and add it to our regional decks, and it's cute and fun. And next time you should do it if you didn't do it this time. You can scan our QR code for our website where we have all the panels, photo shoots, and other things we're planning or have done lately. Some disclaimers before we start. Our pronunciation may be off in regards to Pokemon, but also words in Japanese or other languages. And I tried to represent every generation, but it's really hard with later generations because there is no longer a national dex. A lot of the early generation Pokemon have more Pokedex entries to choose from, and that's just a fact of life. So because this is the spooky scary edition, there will be a lot of ghost type Pokemon in this panel. It's not all ghosts. Hashtag not all ghosts. That's about it. Let's go. First, we have Parasect.
Mushroom-lacking specimens of this Pokemon lie unmoving in the forest, lending credence to the hypothesis that the large mushroom is in control of Parasect's actions.
So the thing that always got me about Parasect and Paris was that the bug became completely overtaken by the parasitic mushroom. And Legends Arceus confirmed my worst fears about that, like that without the mushroom, the bug is gonna die. I don't really know which is worse, like losing your mind to a parasite or dying.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I think it's losing your mind to the parasite, which makes this one especially horrifying. Next, we're on Ghastly.
It's a being that exists as a thin gas. It can topple an Indian elephant by enveloping the prey in 2 seconds.
So, first off, what's an Indian elephant? Because that's not a Pokemon, that is a real thing. Um, but yeah, the Raichu is there because Raichu's Gen 1 entry is also referred to an Indian elephant, which, again, what is an Indian elephant? But the idea of Ghastly just kind of like poisoning an elephant with gas is like, what a way to go, right?
Yeah,
What a way to go.
kind of feel bad for it though.
For the elephant?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, there's the Raichu and Ghastly. Have fun with an Indian elephant. Haunter.
If you get the feeling of being watched in darkness when no one is around, Hunter is there.
And of course, the creepiest thing about this is how matter of fact it is. It's not a suggestion. It's not like it could be Haunter or there's a good chance it's Haunter. No, it's Haunter. Haunter is there. And coupled with other entries mentioning that a single lick from Haunter will slowly kill you, I think if Pokemon were real, this would legitimately give me nightmares.
Yeah, it would probably come out of the wall or something like that.
Do you feel like someone's behind you right now?
No, that's just you.
I'm right next to you. Haunter's there. Gengar.
Should you feel yourself attacked by a sudden chill, it is evidence of an approaching Gengar. There's no escaping it. Just give up.
Give up. Give up. That's all I have to say. Gyarados.
A tale is told of a town that angered Gyarados. Before the sun rose the next day, flames utterly consumed the town, leaving not a trace behind.
So the scary part of this to me comes in when you consider just how many Magikarp there are in the waters of the Pokemon world. That's a lot of potential Gyarados, a lot of flames utterly consuming the town. Which, by the way, side note, the flames confused me at first until I realized that Gyarados knows Hyper Beam. Those are flames from Hyper Beam.
Yes.
It still feels weird because it's like, that's a water type, but it's a water almost dragon, not dragon type, unless it mega evolves. Anyway, Mega Aerodactyl.
It will attack anything that moves. Mega Evolution, though, is a burden on its body, so it's incredibly irritated.
I went on a little rant about Mega Evolution in the other panel, and I'm gonna go on it again. But Mega Evolution seems to like cause such horrific pain to all the Pokemon that Mega Evolve. I don't understand why we do this to them. Like, no wonder they're angry. No wonder they're more powerful. They're freaking like
They're using their anger, like they're channeling it.
they're in horrible, excruciating pain, and we did this to them. Can we not? Xatu.
Xatu stands rooted and still in one spot all day long. People believe that this Pokemon does so out of the fear of the terrible things that it has foreseen in the future.
I don't want to know what Xatu has seen that like makes it so paralyzed with fear. This is definitely like a fear of the unknown kind of thing, and I don't know what scares it so much, and I don't want to find out, but I am morbidly curious. This is Galarian Slowking.
A combination of toxins and the shock of evolving has increased Shelter's intelligence to the point that Shelter can now control Slowking.
So, some of the regional forms are like straight up horrifying when you really look at them. And this is kind of like a parasect situation where the main Pokemon just gets completely taken over by a parasite. But only this time it's actually another Pokemon taking it over, not like some mushroom. The Johto form of Slowking is more of a symbiotic relationship between Slowpoke and Shelter, and they benefit each other, but this is not that. I feel bad for Slowpoke, and I mean, honestly, it's probably not going to notice anyway, because it's Slowpoke. It's slow. It doesn't really grasp what's going on. I still feel bad for it, just like I feel
It's just
bad
like,
for
oh, there's something on me.
Yeah. It's probably cool with it, but still, it's not pleasant. Beautifly.
It has an aggressive nature. It stabs prey with its long, narrow mouth to drain the prey's fluids.
So this one's horrifying in like a certain way because it looks so pretty and then it stabs you and it drains your fluids specifically. I don't like the wording of that, but yeah.
So that means it's everything from like saliva to
it's fluids.
other stuff.
Yeah, it's fluids. Yeah, it's definitely fluids. Shedinja.
Shedinja's hard body doesn't move, not even a twitch. In fact, its body appears to merely be a hollow shell. It is believed that this Pokemon will steal the spirit of anyone peering into its hollow body from its back.
I don't have much to add to that. That is horrifying on its own.
Yeah.
Just don't stare into its hollow body, I guess. It doesn't say that it is definitely a fact that this happens, but
thank God this Pokemon isn't real though, because it says it's the shed Pokemon, so
yeah, it's shed skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could be hiding out in the shed too.
That's what it means.
It could be.
Cacturn.
I've always loved Cacturn.
Mm.
If a traveler is going through the desert in the thick of night, Cacturn will follow in a ragtag group. This Pokemon, these Pokemon are biding their time, waiting for the traveler to tire and being capable of moving.
This is absolutely terrifying. Like, imagine you're like walking through a desert, you're lost. You're being followed by these like humanoid shadow creatures that you can't quite make out, but they're like following you from a little bit of a distance. And more are coming and adding to the group, and you're getting tired, and you just know that
And you're probably
your
getting
time is
sleepy
running
and
out. And these guys are there
yeah.
waiting, plotting, gonna take you down. Don't like it. Banette.
It's a stuffed toy that was thrown away and became possessed, ever searching for the one who threw it away so it can exact its revenge.
So this is like Toy Story as a horror story, right?
Yes.
So make sure you don't discard your toys. Treat them with love. This could create a real hoarder situation where you're like afraid to throw away your toys and fear that they will one day become a Banette.
Yeah, but you could probably give the toys to someone else and
Like in Toy Story.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Just don't throw it away.
But yeah, just don't leave it anywhere because it'll haunt you.
But apparently it also happens if you lose it,
Oh.
according to like the anime. So just toys.
I can't do that.
Gorbis.
Although Gorbis is the very picture of elegance and beauty while swimming, it is also very cruel. When it spots its prey, this Pokemon inserts its thin mouth into the prey's body and drains the prey of all its bodily fluids.
Gorbis and Beautifly should hang out, I guess. Because they do exactly the same thing, and it's like unsettling for the same reason.
They would be besties.
They're kind of pretty, and they just drain the prey of its body fluids, and they say fluids in both of them. So
Yeah, they would be besties.
they would be besties. One is in the water and one is in the air. Vespiquen.
It commands its subjects to build its hive. It will dispatch any interlopers who dare sneak into its nest and use them for nourishment for itself.
It is heavily applied and like outright stated in some of the Pokédex entries that it's basically talking about like Ursaring and Teddiursa because they're the ones that try to steal the honey from the hives. So yeah, it's gonna just kind of kill them, I guess, and feast on their remains, which is very fun, very fun. Drifloon.
If for some reason its body bursts, its soul spills out with a screaming sound.
Which is horrifying and also hilarious.
I'm just trying to think of how that works. Because, like, if you step on it accidentally.
Well, have you ever stepped on a balloon? It doesn't really pop the balloon, usually.
Sometimes.
If you stomp on the balloon.
Yeah, if you stomp
but
it.
if you just step on it, it usually just kind of like goes squish and displaces a little bit.
Yeah, but some people have heavy feet.
Yeah, I guess. But just don't pop Drifloon and you'll be fine and it won't scream at you.
So it'd be like.
Yeah, something like that. Hunchcrow.
One cry from this Pokemon and a murder of Murkrow come flying. At such times, one would think the curtain of night had fallen, plunging the world into jet black darkness.
So something like this. Yeah. I do appreciate them using Murder of Murkrow. I really like that. Like a Murder of Crows. And it also adds to the like spookiness. Yeah, I don't know. I would be terrified if suddenly the sky just turned dark for no reason. And then I'd be more terrified if a bunch of birds came hurtling toward me.
Well, Hunchcrow is basically the godfather, so
Yeah, he is. And he's controlling all these little
he'd be like, yo,
crows.
take that dude down.
Yeah, I don't want to. I would run inside.
Yeah.
I would not be outside.
I don't think it'll help.
They're not getting in. Nope. Gliscor?
It glides soundlessly on pitch black wings and sinks sharp fangs into the throat of its prey. It takes on a look of satisfaction once it entirely drains its prey of blood.
It's another one that likes to drain fluids, but this time it says blood specifically because it's a vampire.
But it's so cute, though.
Yeah, sure. Cute.
It is. And then the satisfaction that it takes on.
Yeah, because it's just killed someone.
Yeah.
So cute, so adorable. No. Dusknor.
At the biddings of transmissions from the spirit world, it steals people and Pokemon away. No one knows whether it has a will of its own.
So another entry mentions that it sometimes takes souls of those who have life to live still. And that makes this horrifying because it might not have a will of its own. So if it makes a mistake, you can't argue with it. You can't be like, hey, it's not my time to go. It'll be like, no, definitely your time.
I really hope they're
I
not
was
hanging
told
out
it
in
was your
nursing
time.
homes.
It's your time. Yeah. There's a lot that do hang out in nursing homes. Frostlass.
When it finds humans or Pokemon it likes, it freezes them to death and takes them to its chilly den, where they become decorations.
You said freezes them to death, but it doesn't actually say that. But I'm pretty sure it's implied, so that's okay. It takes people it likes and kills them, probably, to add them to its collection, frozen for eternity, so it can just gaze upon them. Which is chilling. Yeah, chilling.
So you're telling me that Pokemon would basically work in the real estate market?
What?
Like, decorations for the house.
Oh. No, it's for
Like,
its own
its
house.
job.
It's not selling its collection to other people.
You don't know that?
No. It takes the things they like so it can look on them. Like, a lot of Pokédex entries mention that it specifically targets human men, by the way. So be careful, Tyler.
I'll be all right.
Yeah, you're not going to be lured away by a stray flip frostlass.
No.
You're not going to be frozen,
It
kept for eternity.
doesn't captivate
lair.
me in any way.
Really?
Yes.
Have you looked at her?
It's giving me the side eye, so I don't want it.
Okay. You're safe for now. Yamask.
Each of them carries a mask that used to be its face when it was human. Sometimes they look at it and cry.
I have nothing to add to this. This is just sad and creepy. And the mask alone is creepy. And also, does it have like a little tear in its eye
Yeah.
from crying? That's actually like really sad. I don't want to look at this anymore. Cough egregious.
So it takes grave robbers who mistake them for real coffins and get too close end up trapped inside their bodies.
Which is horrifying in its own way. I mean, if they're grave robbers, they probably kind of deserve it, but apparently it's not just grave robbers that it does it to, according to other Pokédex entries. So
It looks like it just does it to anyone who gets
just
too
don't
close.
get close to it. I don't want to be grabbed by its weird shadow hands that it has four of. That sounds like a bad time, and I don't want to be inside its body. That also doesn't sound like a fun time. Also, if you're claustrophobic, that would be awful.
That would be the worst way to go if you were claustrophobic.
Litwick.
I used to think this Pokemon was cute until I actually read about its journal entry. So, the flame on its head keeps its body slightly warm. This Pokemon takes lost children by the hands to guide them to the spirit world.
It's still cute.
It is still cute,
It
but
is so cute. But when I originally read it, I thought it was like cute and sad because I interpreted lost children to be children who were already dead, and Litwick was like a nice little spirit guide taking it to the spirit world. But no, it's not. It's actually stealing living children and stealing their souls for nourishment because other Pokedex entries mention that it eats the souls. So to feed its flame. So if it's got a large flame, you know it's eating a lot of children's souls.
yeah, that's true.
We should just call this like let's talk about Dex dead children,
No.
to be honest. Lampents.
It lurks in cities, pretending to be a lamp. Once it finds someone whose death is near, it'll trail quietly after them.
Which is like a Cacturn situation, and that it's horrifying because there's something following you, and you know it's like waiting for you to die.
So if it goes to another region, like let's say the person's death is near and he's in the city, but then he goes to the desert, does that mean the Lampent and the Cacturn team up?
They could. They could. I don't like that. I don't want
That just makes it even scarier.
it does. Cryagonal.
Cragno appear during cold seasons. It is said that people and Pokemon who die on snowy mountains are reborn into these Pokemon.
I do want to point out that Cryogonal is not a ghost type. Usually, when a Pokemon or a person dies and becomes a Pokemon, that Pokemon is a ghost type. Cryogonal is just ice. I don't know if that makes it creepier or not, but it does make it more interesting because I don't think there's any other ones where it's like that, where they just aren't ghosts. It's just ice. It's just an icicle.
Yeah.
Well, it's ice snowflake, but ice. It's ice. Honedge.
If anyone dare grabs its hilt, it wraps a blue cloth around that person's arm and drains that person's life energy completely.
Was trying to think of ways to get around this, but yeah, I can't really think of any way that you can grab this sword without it draining your life energy.
You just have to be very careful of the blue cloth.
I guess.
Just also don't grab
Can
the
you
hilt.
trap the blue cloth first and then use the hilt? How many 10-year-olds are we gonna throw at this thing to figure out like loopholes?
Probably 100.
Yeah. 10-year-old researchers are pretty expendable.
Usually 100, just because so many of our other facts that we've done in like the Let's Talk About Dex include 100.
They do. Or 10,000. That's
true.
too many though. Aegislash.
Its potent spectral powers allow it to manipulate others. It once used its powers to force people and Pokemon to build a kingdom to its liking.
So in Pokemon Y, this talks about how it chooses a person to be king based on their qualities. But this shows that the Pokemon is actually the king. So basically, it chooses a puppet that it thinks will be suitable, basically a suitable host in a sense.
So just like, yes,
and
you're building this to me.
Aegislash is the real king, controlling everything from the shadows.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and also very creepy. Phantom.
After a lost child perished in the forest, their spirit possessed a tree stump, causing the spirit's rebirth as this Pokemon.
I told you this should just be Let's Talk About Dex Dead Children edition.
Maybe another idea for a future panel.
So this is another dead child Pokedex entry. But this time the child becomes the Pokemon. And that is horrifying in its own. We have more dead children coming up, by the way. Gorgeist.
Large Gorgeist put on the guise of adults, taking the hands of children to lead them to the afterlife.
This entry is specifically for the large size Gorgeist. And this is one of the worst. Again, we have dead children. But this is the manifestation of a real fear parents and children share. of children being tricked into going somewhere with untrustworthy adults never to be seen again. In this case, it is a Pokemon doing it, which makes you not really want to have
So
one
does
of
the
these.
Gorgeist wear a trench coat or something?
No, it just looks friendly. Look at it. It's smiling. It's cute.
I wouldn't take its hand.
Well, it doesn't have hands. It's like leaf hair.
Eh.
It
It's
takes
like it has
it
3
takes the hands
fingers.
of children
Yeah.
with its hair thing, I guess. I don't know how that works. Anyway, Yveltal.
When its life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more.
So just a public service announcement. Don't let Yveltal die. Ever.
You
Unless
will
you want
instantly regret it.
well, I mean, you won't regret it. You won't live to regret it because nothing will be living anymore. Everything is gonna be gone. Shinotic.
Forests where Shiinotic live are treacherous to enter at night. People confused by its strange lights can never find their way home again.
Honestly, all the things for Shinotic, like all the Pokédex entries for Shinotic are like super creepy, and just looking at it, it's super creepy. Something about the soulless eyes, like there's no light in those eyes whatsoever. I like this Pokédex entry because the threat is implied and not explicit. It just don't go into the forest at night. Um, I wouldn't anyway because again the face is already creepy
Yeah,
enough.
that's the stuff of
If I
nightmares.
knew Shinotic were in a forest, I wouldn't go into the forest. It's not happening. Beware.
This Pokemon has the habit of hugging its companions. Many trainers have left this world after their spines were crushed by its hug.
So I
I
would
would
still
still
hug
hug
it.
it.
I would still hug it. It only wants cuddles, but it's so strong its hug will kill you. Um, so yeah, it's terrifying, but I feel like it'd be worth it. Like that would be the best hug of your life and the last hug of your life. Palo Sand.
Buried beneath the castle are masses of dried up bones from whose from those whose vitality it has drained.
I like this entry because it is very explicit about what happens. You go near this thing, it will bury you under the sand and your bones will be there. And that's about it. It's going to drain your energy. It's going to leave you just bones under the sand. Horrifying and straight up tells you what it's going to do. Mimikyu.
There will be no forgiveness for anyone who reveals that it was pretending to be a Pikachu. It'll bring the culprit down, even at the cost of its own life.
But why would you do that anyway? Because Mimikyu is already cuter than Pikachu. So like you can just let it keep pretending. It's cute. It's a baby. I think this was actually for the broken form. Yeah, it's for the broken form. Which the broken form of Mimikyu usually has the creepier Pokedex entries. I guess because it's broken. Marshadow.
It lurks in the shadows of others, copying their movements and powers. This Pokemon is craven and cowering.
I don't have much to say about that, but it is a cutie, and I love it, and I want to hug it. But yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just cute.
Marshadow, Marshmallow, kind of the same
I
thing.
named my marshmallow, actually. My Marshadow is named Marshmallow. Blacephalon.
It slithers towards people, then, without warning, it triggers the explosion of its own head.
It does that, yeah. Yeah, it does that. That's a thing it does. Moving on.
That's
Siniscape.
an interesting party trick.
Yeah.
It absorbs the life force of those who drink it. It patiently waits, but opportunities are fleeting. It tastes so bad that it gets spat out immediately.
Yeah, so it'll absorb your life force, but it tastes bad, so like it doesn't really get the chance. So it's like it's creepy, but it's good that it tastes bad because it doesn't usually kill people. Sometimes it does, and there is like, and there are entries talking about how like gourmets will drink just enough of it to like get the effects, but not enough to kill themselves. It's kind of interesting. Hatchrim.
So this Pokemon, or the moment this Pokemon finds someone who is emitting strong feelings of emotion, it will pummel them senseless with its braids to silence them.
So don't feel anything around this Pokemon ever. And if you ever do have feelings, stay away from it. And can you imagine you're feeling emotions, so it starts beating you, and then you're in pain, so you're feeling emotions from being in pain. So it beats you more until you're like eventually unconscious. Like that's terrifying.
It
Awful.
shouldn't be called the Serene Pokemon. It should be Death Pokemon.
No, it's serene because it wants you to be serene.
I
It
know.
needs to be serene or it will kill you.
Which is its end goal.
Cursula.
All right, so be cautious of the ectoplasmic body surrounding its soul. You will become stiff as stone if you touch it.
Yeah, so basically don't touch it. A lot of these are like, don't come near this thing, don't touch it. So just don't touch it and you won't become stiff as stone. Simple as that. Runa Regis.
Never touch its shadow-like body, or you'll be shown the horrific memories behind the pictures carved into it.
I don't want to be shown those memories, and again, I will not touch it. Just don't touch any of these Pokemon, and you'll be okay. Basculegion.
So it clads itself in the soul of its comrades that have perished before fulfilling their goals of journeying upstream. No other species throughout all Hisui's rivers is Basculin's equal.
Basculegion.
Or Basculegion.
This one's horrifying not for like human horror, but for the horror of like this thing is just made up of souls of fish that couldn't make it upstream. Like anything that involves souls is kind of creepy.
I feel it's kind of sad too.
It is sad. It's usually under the sad section, but for this, it's in
No, I know.
the terrifying. Nakasak.
This Pokemon dry cures its prey by spraying salt all over them. The curing process steals away the water in the prey's body.
Why am I thinking of bloodbending?
It basically is. Basically is, except it feels like it lives in the Minecraft universe.
It's just like it takes all of the moisture out of your body, and that's literally horrifying. I don't like it, and I'm moving on. Also, yeah, it is a Minecraft Pokemon. Bramblin.
A soul unable to move to the afterlife was blown around by a wind until it got tangled up with dry grass and became a Pokemon.
Yeah, so it's just kind of it's a tumbleweed. That
It just
got blown
rolls,
around
man.
with the wind. It just rolls.
It's a Bramblin, man.
It's a Bramblin, man. God. Poltergeist.
It sprinkles some of its powdery body onto food and drains the life force of those who so much as lick it.
So it's like it's actually very much like Sinistea, of course, where it will drain your life force if you like eat it or whatever. This one doesn't mention that it tastes bad though, so I'm wondering if it tastes better and maybe it's more successful at draining people's life force.
It looks like it is. I mean, you see how big its head is?
Yeah, he looks pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. I think it's more successful. Also, it's evolved. So.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this panel. Thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned some stuff about some creepy Pokemon too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And remember, if you ever feel a chill, Hunter is there.
Hunter is there.